Hey everybody, welcome back to Mondays with Mike. It's good to be back in front of the camera at my desk in my office. We've been in phase 2 Nassau County for just about 2 weeks now and starting to get a sense of what real estate is going to look like and how it's changing. And over and over again, I'm having this conversation about the anticipated shift from urban settings, notably here in this region, New York City, to the suburbs, right? Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester, certainly in the mix, and the northern Jersey counties very much in the mix. Our focus, as most people know, is New York City eastward, and so that's what I'm going to focus on primarily. But it's a general shift that people are talking about. You know, it's that idea that people are running out of New York City to go buy houses in Nassau and Suffolk, and that there are bidding wars left and right. But I think there are two things to focus on here, and I'm probably going to break this up into two segments. So you may have to wait with bated breath until next week for part 2, because I don't want these to go too long. But one of the things I wanted to address first is just the speed at which this shift is happening. Yes, we are seeing some bidding wars already for mostly, I would say, like median priced homes in the different areas in Nassau and Suffolk. Why are all the people from New York City not flooding out? Well, first of all, some of them may not want to actually move to the suburbs. Hard for us suburbanites to imagine, I know. But there's still plenty of draws to living in New York City, mostly outside of pandemic times. I think that this shift is going to happen much slower than people think. There are a lot of people who, even if they wanted to move out of New York City today or tomorrow, have longer term leases, have condos or co-ops with mortgage payments that they need to sell. So particularly for higher price listings, unless you have somebody who's a very liquid buyer and can just buy with cash, or they can borrow on multiple properties at once, million plus properties, it's going to take a little bit longer for buyers from New York City to get their ducks in a row, to get out of their lease, let the lease time out and expire, or sell their condo or co-op. Otherwise, they're looking at carrying 2 mortgages or a rent and a mortgage if they're not able to buy cash. Even if they could buy cash for $1 million plus property, we're talking about high property taxes, especially in Nassau County. So that monthly payment is still going to impact them. So I think we're seeing much quicker, we're seeing bigger bidding wars, and we're seeing much quicker moves into the kind of median priced inventory. South Shore of Nassau County in particular is I don't want to say on fire, because I think it's a little too early for that, but it's getting hotter certainly. And what's happening with the market is we have about 10 months supply, meaning if all the inventory that was on the market in Nassau and Suffolk had to be sold off and nothing else was added, it would take a full 10 months at this rate to get absorbed and sold off. When I look at the numbers, only about 20% of that inventory that's either available or under contract was listed since June 10th, which was the start of phase 2. So we still have a lot of overhang inventory from the shutdown that we'll need to churn through. And we'll see. It may line up well with other people who are looking to move to the suburbs being able to do so, winding down their obligations in the city. Maybe not, but I think the other factor that people have to think about is that most New York City jobs or employers have not figured out exactly how they're going to bring people back. We have some bigger companies, bringing 25% of staff back in now that New York City's in phase 2. We have some that are saying you can work from home permanently. The Twitters of the world are the most famous for that. Then you also have, Facebook signing a 700,000 square foot lease. We're in the process of doing that right in Midtown Manhattan. So unsure what's going to happen with people having to get back on the railroad and get back to work. And I think a lot of people are still waiting to see what happens there. Those are like the key headline issues, and I think the main takeaway, I said probably in the first 30 seconds, I think that the shift is happening from the urban landscapes of the world to the suburban landscapes of the world. Again, we're talking about New York City here for the most part for our viewers, but it applies across the board, I think, in this country. Just happening slower than people are expecting. So I'm definitely going to turn this into 2 segments because I think I'm already at almost 5 minutes and the lights just went out on me. So We will talk to you next week, and it's great to be back.